There's a scene, like a police bust up in Tony's club in Velvet Mirage. Ramsey, you done the storyboard as well as basically the whole project. NLT went on holiday and left that to you. Do you want to just take us through that?
Yeah, so it was exactly how I used to do things before video games when I was working on TV shows and that kind of stuff. There's a script. I drew things out. It was mostly for myself, just because, no one else is going to have to really go off of this. So I made drawings that were the level of detail I need to know what to do. And I kept it very cartoony. I didn't bother trying to draw anything realistic. I drew it like I was storyboarding a cartoon, did all that. And then once I got in there, I pretty much just followed them along with the timing I had done, made slight adjustments here and there that had to do with, just timing when it's more realistic characters instead of cartoony ones. Sometimes you need more frames so that things don't look wacky. And yeah, it was just that. I got to start from script to finished animation just kind of on my own, and that was fun because I hadn't got to do that on this project before.
So how long does this type of process take? Because I'm guessing the sketches are pretty basic, almost like a chicken scratch type process, unless you go further. But it sounds pretty robust if you're going from a basic sketch all the way to animation. So how long does that look like, and what are some of the challenges you face when you're doing this type of development of a scene?
Well, to avoid one thing, which I realized was going to be a problem when I first started doing the sketches. Originally, I was going to draw the backgrounds in behind the characters, just roughly to know where things were. But then I realized that because I'm working in 3D, nothing was going to line up if I did it that way, and I'd be guessing, and like the framing wouldn't work and stuff. So I went into each scene and I moved the camera where I wanted it to be for each shot. And then I used a sort of like washed out, slightly transparent version of that image and drew on top of that. So that way I at least knew that like this is where the character is actually going to be. These are the size relations, so I'm not drawing things too big or too small. And so as far as time goes, it probably took me about 5 or 6 hours total to do everything from concept to finished storyboards.
So when you say concept to finished storyboards, that's not even, and then you've got to start the animation after that. So there's another whole chunk of time you doing each scene individually and then stitching it all together, right?
Yeah, animating them is always going to be the longest part of the process, just because there's so much to it. And when there's multiple characters and, you got to make sure everything's working and everybody. Yeah, so storyboarding is fast. Animating is much, much slower. So that would have taken, more like 40 hours of animating to get all that done.